This is Patrick Baker, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. This is
Well, a terrific rendition of the national anthem by a local elementary school here in Southern Maryland as it's baseball and education day, an 11 o'clock start time between the Honey Hunters and the Blue Crabs. Countless schools and children in attendance at today's game. We couldn't be happier to have everybody with us for this morning's game. We'll run you through the lineups as the Honey Hunters take on the Blue Crabs in Game 3 of this three-game set. It's the rubber match after the Blue Crabs won Game 2 4-0. Southern Maryland lost to the Honey Hunters 2-0 in Game 1. So a pair of shutouts for these two teams. Gastonia starter in day one, or in the first game I should say, went 8 innings of work and allowed no runs, and they closed it out, having a complete game shutout from the pitching staff. But yesterday, it was a one-man show for Southern Maryland. Mitch Lampston went all 9 innings, allowed just 3 hits, 1 walk, and no runs. Deck McGuire was the starter for the Honey Hunters back in Game 1 of this series. So let's run you through the lineups and the starters here in Game 2. We're going to start with the Gastonia Honey Hunters, who will bat first here on the top of the first inning. It's Johnny Davis, who's playing center field, who will lead things off. Jack Reinheimer is batting second. He is the shortstop. The 3-hitter is the second baseman in today's game. It's Joseph Rosa. The designated hitter, Zach Jarrett, he bats fourth. Luis Roman bats fifth today. And the left fielder is the 6th-hitter. That's Reese Hampton. Batting 7th, it's the right fielder, number 4, Jake Skoll. Batting 8th, Luis Castro, he plays first base. The catcher bats 9th, it's Alex Holderbach. And on the mound for the Blue Crabs today, taking on that starting lineup, will be Eddie Butler. Let's run you through Eddie Butler's 3 starts so far this season. He's got a 3.21 ERA coming into this one. His most recent start was at the Wild Health Genomes, where he went 6 innings, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs via a home run, and no walks. He struck out 5. His whip this season is 0.71. He's been really, really good at preventing base runners. He's walked just 2 batters in his 14 innings of work. His first 2 starts of the year, he pitched against Lexington, where he allowed 1 earned run in 3 innings of work. And then against the Wild Health Genomes at home, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Here in the Atlantic League, there isn't quite as long of a spring training, so it takes a couple starts for guys to get all the way back up to speed where they're ready to go, 6+ innings of work. And it took 3 starts for Eddie Butler, but he's there now. He went 6 innings on just 79 pitches in his most recent start at the Wild Health Genomes. Butler, a former big leaguer, played 4 seasons in Major League Baseball. Pitch for the Texas Rangers, the Chicago Cubs, the Colorado Rockies. With the Cubs, he had a 3.95 ERA in 2017. ERA plus of 112, an above average big leaguer in 2017. Had a tough year with Texas in 2018, and we are underway. First pitch misses just a little bit away to Johnny Davis for ball 1. The Honey Hunters and the Blue Crabs have identical 14-3 records. 1-1 is swung on and tapped foul, first base side, toward the Honey Hunters dugout, I should say. Your umpires in today's game behind home plate, it is Ian Pittenger. At first base, Bill the Skill Worthington. As the 1-1 pitch is cut on and fouled back behind home plate. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. And over at third base is John Thomas. Well, Bill Worthington, that is, has been going by Bill the Skill as the 1-2 pitch is cut on and dribbled into center field for a base hit. Past the outstretched glove of Raul Shaw. Will take you around the diamond in 1 moment. Yeah, John Thomas, I asked him, do you go by a nickname? And he said no. Ian Pittenger said maybe JT, but John Thomas said no, I just go by John Thomas. So the third base umpire, just John Thomas, and the home plate umpire, it's just Ian Pittenger. But Bill, the skill Worthington, is over at first base. We'll run around first now with nobody out. We'll take you around the diamond as Eddie Butler gets the start. Behind home plate is Austin Rye. We'll jump into the outfield from left to right. Collier, Sundberg, and Lee. As the first pitch is away, Rye jumps to his feet and looks back the runner at first base, Johnny Davis. So again, across the outfield, Zach Collier, Jack Sundberg, Braxton Lee in first from third to first. In the infield, Ian Yetzko at third, making his first start at third base. As this pitch is cut on, hit high in the air, deep left center field, back. It's going to hit the gap and go all the way to the wall. Davis rounds third. He'll score without a throw. Now chugging for third. Reinheimer, the throw is not in time. An RBI triple for Jake Reinheimer as he splits the gap in left center and drives in the first run of the game. So that is a quick 1-0 lead for the Honey Hunters. 2 batters and 2 base hits off of Eddie Butler. And now trying to prevent this one from going to a 2-0 lead with Joseph Rosa coming to the plate. Well, not characteristic of the start of the season that Eddie Butler's had. Butler came in with just a 3.21 ERA. First pitch to the 3-hitter, Rosa, breaking ball, and he was out in front of it in the count 0-1. Still nobody out. It's a 1-0 lead already for Gastonia. Runner on third base. That's Jake Reinheimer. 0-1. Runs inside, nearly clipped Joseph Rosa. And a count, a ball and a strike. Nobody out in the top of the first inning. The Honey Hunters have jumped on the board quickly after an RBI triple from Jake Reinheimer. 1-1. Swing and a pop-up and foul ground. Yetzko chases after it, but it was falling fast. He didn't quite get to it. So one hops into the Blue Crabs dugout on the third base side. Count, a ball and 2 strikes. Ian Yetzko had just 2 starts before yesterday's game, and he has 2 starts in the last 2 games. Playing at third base today. He played at second base yesterday. Raul Shah gets the start at second today. Here's the 1-2 offering. Swinging a ground ball, foul, first base side, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Joseph Rosa, the lefty, steps back in. Reinheimer leads from third. Quick 1-0 lead already from the Honey Hunters. 1-2. Swung on and fouled back, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Joseph Rosa working a long count. Played in the Mariners organization. Had 6 home runs across minor league baseball. And the 1-2 swung on and missed, struck him out. Eddie Butler earns a strikeout after a couple of base hits. It was a long at bat. Rosa put in some work. But it is strike 3, and there is 1 away. Jack Reinheimer, who leads off of third base, played in the Mets organization and played in Major League Baseball with the New York Mets, in fact. One of 2 short stints in Major League Baseball. Butler played just 2 games the year prior with the Mariners organization. First pitch cut on and missed. Or beg your pardon, Reinheimer did. Runner on third base, one out. The infield now in for the Blue Crabs. I think the Blue Crabs have faith they can put a couple runs on the board today. They didn't put any runs on the board on Friday, scored 4 yesterday. As the pitch is swung on, a slow grounder to short. Baca had trouble handling it, and Reinheimer's going to score from third. Nobody is out on the play. Everybody's going to be safe. Baca makes a mistake fielding that ball, and everybody's safe, and a run comes home for Gastonia. They lead this one 2-0. Here in the first, if he fields that ball cleanly and makes a good throw home, there's a good chance they're getting Reinheimer. And now that everybody's safe, I'm sure that's going to go down as an error against the shortstop, Michael Baca. Well, either way, Zach Jarrett is aboard. It's a runner on first base and one out. 2-0 start for the Honey Hunters. An RBI triple from Jake Reinheimer, and Zach Jarrett drives him in on an error made by the shortstop Michael Baca. Butler throws to first. Not in time to get Zach Jarrett, who had a solid lead off of first base. Here is Luis Roman. Roman, a left-handed hitter. Pitch, that's away, and the count, a ball and no strikes on Roman. Luis Roman has another Luis in the lineup. It's Luis Castro. Roman bats 5th. Luis Castro bats 8th. It's one of those situations you just got to go by the last name. 1-0. Called strike on the outside corner, and the count, a ball and a strike. Ian Pittenger gives pitcher Eddie Butler the benefit of the doubt on that call. 2-0. Honey Hunters over the Blue Crabs. Ian Pittenger made some noise with that RBI triple. It was Johnny Davis who singled off the bat. Here's the 1-1. Swinging a high chopper towards second. It's going to get all the way through it to center field for a base hit. Sundberg realized he had no play at third base as Zach Jarrett goes first to third. And there are runners on the corners with one out. Another base hit from Luis Roman. It's not all that hard hit. Just a high chopper through the middle, but it's another hit. It's the 4th hit of the game for the Honey Hunters. Now keep in mind, Eddie Butler not someone who allows all that many hits. In his first start this year, he allowed 1 hit. In his second start against the Genomes, he allowed 2. And then in his most recent start in Kentucky at the Wildtail Genomes, he allowed 5 hits across 6 innings. He's allowed 3 hits, I guess it is, not 4, across just 1/3 of an inning. And the Honey Hunters continue to threaten here in the first. Here's the pitch, called strike on the outer half. And the count 0-1, but runners on the corners now for Gastonia. Cut on and fouled back behind home plate. The count, no balls and 2 strikes on the left-handed hitter. Zach Jarrett, who reached out an error, is at third base. Luis Roman at first base after his single. And that's a ball from Luis Roman that's maybe a few feet further right, possible double play ball. Butler tosses over to first, and Roman dives back in safely. Overcast skies and the kids chanting "Strike him out" here on Baseball and Education Day. We'll have some educationally themed questions in today's ball game. 1-2, swing and it's fouled back to the netting, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Before the Blue Crabs have ever come to the plate, it's already a 2-0 lead for the Honey Hunters. Here is the 1-2. Swinging a high fly ball, shallow left field. It's a long run. The shortstop Bach out to make the catch. He throws home. It's cut off by Eddie Butler, and no one's going anywhere. Zach Jarrett faked as if he was going to go, but had to hold back at third base. A very nice play defensively by the shortstop Michael Baca, who made the catch. That was after he made an error earlier in the inning. But a very important out, as the Blue Crabs are trying to hold the Honey Hunters to a 2-0 scoreline. Blue Crabs defense can go back to normal depth after the pop out that held Zach Jarrett at third base. First pitch misses low, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. Gastonia 2, Southern Maryland nothing. Zach Jarrett leads from third. Luis Roman from first. Eddie Butler set. Here's the pitch. Little low and away, in the count 2-0. Well, let's recap how we got here in the first. Johnny Davis led off with a single. It was just a slow ground ball up the middle. Sort of a seeing eye single past the glove of Eddie Butler and the second baseman, Raul Shah. Then it was an RBI triple, as this one is cut on and grounded foul first base side. From Jake Reinheimer into the left center field gap. Scored Davis and put Reinheimer aboard with nobody on. Butler then recorded a strikeout on Joseph Rosa. And Zach Jarrett dribbled one slowly over to short. By the time that Baca got there, he bobbled it. Didn't have a play, and everybody was safe. And Luis Roman followed that up with a high chopper up the middle for a base hit. Butler tosses over to first. Diving back in safely, Roman. Still runners on the corners, 2 outs. 2-0 Honey Hunters. Here's the pitch, swung on a high fly ball, deep left center field. Sundberg on the run, back to the warning track, and he makes the catch. About 15 feet in front of the wall in left center. That ball hang up just a little too long to allow Sundberg to make the catch. Well, that ends the top of the first inning. The Honey Hunters scored 2 runs and lead this one 2-0. Bottom of the first, Blue Crabs coming to bat next.
State Broadcast Network.
Bottom of the first inning, and the Honey Hunters are already on the board. They put up a 2 spot in the top of the first behind 3 hits and a Blue Crabs error. Well, we move to the bottom of the first inning. We're going to have some geography, baseball-related trivia questions coming your way. First pitch, called strike on the outside corner against Jack Sundberg. We'll run you through the Blue Crabs lineup momentarily as the 0-1 pitch cut on and missed. Sundberg bats first as Ian Yetzko, the 2-hitter. Jared Walker bats third. The cleanup hitter today is David Harris. Zach Collier in the 5 spot. Braxton Lee bats 6th. Raul Shah in the 7 hole. It's Austin Rye batting 8th and closing out the lineup, batting 9th, Michael Baca. 0-2, swinging a foul tip from Jack Sundberg, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Glad to have you with us this morning for Baseball and Education Day. One of 2 morning games here in the month of May in back-to-back weeks. 0-2 pitch from Walden. Just away, very close, but missed off the outer edge according to the home plate umpire, Ian Pittenger. Bill the Skill Worthington over at first base today. And the third base umpire is John Thomas. 1-2 pitch, swinging a slow dribbler, first base side. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, there's also the question of, well, how well has Walden done this season? He's had 3 starts, has a 3.75 ERA this season. Here's the 1-2. Swinging a high pop-up into left field. Easily playable for East Hampton, who takes a couple steps over toward left center, where he makes the catch for the first out. So 1 away in the bottom of the first inning. Let's run through the game log from Marcus Walden. 3 starts so far this year. His first one was a bit tough. In 3 innings of work, he allowed 3 earned runs on 3 hits. In his second game against Staten Island, 5 innings of work, 3 hits, 1 run. And in his most recent start at Staten Island, as the pitch swung on, line drive into left center field for a base hit. Ian Yetzko is aboard for the 4th time this season. He's got a 4-game hit streak. It spans across more than 2 weeks, but it's a 4-game hit streak nonetheless. We'll jump into that in a moment. But first, Marcus Walden's most recent start was at Staten Island back on May 8th, just 4 days ago, where he had a 3.75 ERA after that game because he pitched so well it went down from 4.5. 4 innings of work, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So runner on first base with 1 out for Southern Maryland. Let's jump in to the start Ian Yetzko's had to this year. Came into yesterday's game 2 for 5. He was 3 for 9 after yesterday's game. He was 1 for 4. But now batting .400 after a single to left center field. Ian Yetzko played in his first game against the Wild Health Genomes. Or I beg your pardon. Let's start that again. He had his first game against Lexington, Kentucky, against the Lexington Legends. The first pitch, a called strike on Jared Walker, with 1 away in the bottom of the first inning. So he played his first game against the Lexington Legends in Lexington. Had a base hit, was 1 for 1 in that game. So he came in later in the ball game. And then in his second game on May 5th against the Lancaster Barnstormers, he was 1 for 4. This ball swung on, grounded over to second, could be 2, on to second for 1, back to first, not in time. Jared Walker ran that ball out effectively. And there's still a runner on first base with 2 outs. So he was 1 for 4 against the Lancaster Barnstormers, and then played in yesterday's game, just his 3rd start of the year, batted 2nd in the lineup, and was 1 for 4. And today he's 1 for 1 to start the game. So a 4-game hitting streak. It started way back on April 25th. It was continued on May 5th. Had a hit yesterday on May 11th and one more today on May the 12th. So runner on first with 2 outs. Here's David Harris. He is the cleanup hitter in the lineup for the Blue Crabs. First pitch runs a little bit inside on the righty. And the count 1 ball and no strikes. 2 away in the bottom of the first inning. Southern Maryland trails 2-0 after a collection of hits from the Honey Hunters back in the first. 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 error. The pitch swung on, hit high in the air, straight away center. Johnny Davis doesn't have to move more than a couple of steps to his left and makes the catch for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs have a hit. Otherwise, they strand one at the end of 1 inning of play. It's the Honey Hunters 2 and the Blue Crabs 0. You're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. For the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs have a hit. Otherwise, they strand one at the end of 1 inning of play. It's the Honey Hunters 2 and the Blue Crabs 0. You're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Top of the second inning, the first pitch to the 8-hitter in the order. Luis Castro is cut on and fouled back. It's a 2-0 Honey Hunters lead in the top of the second inning. As Castro leads things off, the pitch swung on, a one-hopper over to second. Luis Shaw couldn't pick it as it sort of took a little bit of a high hop on him. And he makes the error with nobody out in the second inning. Well, on that play right there, Luis Castro didn't have much time to move his feet as it was a pretty hard hit line drive, one hopper toward him. But either way, for Castro, he fielded that ball on a medium hop. Didn't really have enough time to make an adjustment after that first hop. And also didn't have quite enough time so that he could, and also did not have that ball go directly into his mitt after the ball bounced. So it's not a short hop where it goes right from the ground to your mitt. Not a long hop where he has enough time to adjust. Somewhere in the middle, he couldn't make that adjustment, and it is actually going to be ruled a hit for Luis Castro. Well, a runner on first base. Here's the pitch, swinging a line drive through the left side for a base hit from Alex Holderbach. Back-to-back hits to start the top of the second inning. And Eddie Butler has found himself right back in another jam. So runners on first and second with nobody out. Well, we have our first trivia question for today. Former Atlantic Leaguer, who's also a former big leaguer and the only big leaguer ever from the continent of Africa, is Mpo Gift Ngope. As the pitch is a little bit low for ball one. Now, Ngope is from which African country? That's the question today. He is the only big leaguer to have played in the MLB, only big leaguer ever from continental Africa. Which African country is Mpo Gift Ngope from? As the 1-0 pitch is swung on and grounded foul, first base side out of play. Count a ball and a strike. So again, one player ever in Major League history has ever been from continental Africa. It is Mpo Gift Ngope. And the question is, which African country is he from? Give you a little background on Ngope. Played for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Toronto Blue Jays. As the 1-1 pitch shows bunt. He fouled it off behind home plate in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes on the leadoff hitter in the order, Johnny Davis. Here in the top of the second inning, the Honey Hunters 2, the Blue Crabs nothing. 2 runs from the Honey Hunters back in the first inning. Runners on first and second, nobody out. The pitch, swinging a slow grounder over to second. On to second for 1. That's the only play they're going to have. As Baca looked to third before he even looked to first. So it's a fielder's choice from Johnny Davis, but it advances Luis Castro to third. Runners on first and third with 1 out. The Blue Crabs trail the Honey Hunters 2-0 after a 2-run first inning from Gastonia. A 2-run first that included 2 runs on 3 hits and an error. 5 hits already for the Honey Hunters through 1 1/3 innings from Eddie Butler, and he's allowed 2 runs. Here's the first pitch to the 2-hitter, Jake Reinheimer. It's swung on and tapped foul, first base side. Jack Reinheimer played in the Mets organization as well as the Arizona Diamondbacks. In 2018, he played with the Diamondbacks at the age of 25. Later played for the New York Mets that same year. Was with the Baltimore Orioles AAA club in 2019. And played in Seattle's AAA system last year before playing with Gastonia for the first time in independent ball this year as Eddie Butler throws the first to check on Johnny Davis. Davis reached via a fielder's choice. So runners on the corners with 1 out. Pitch, swinging a 1-hopper over to third, on to second for 1, back on to first, a double play. Ian Yetzko starts the 5-4-3 double play, and Eddie Butler works out of a first and third 1-out jam as the Blue Crabs turn 2. We're finished with an inning and a half at the end of the top of the second inning. It's the Blue Crabs nothing and the Honey Hunters 2. You're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Bottom of the second inning, Honey Hunters 2, Blue Crabs nothing. We're going to get you the answer to our trivia question, our first trivia question later in this inning. I want to give some more fans an opportunity to try to answer this one. As the first pitch to Zach Collier at the letters for a called strike. Honey Hunters have a 2-0 lead. They scored their 2 runs back in the top of the first inning. Your trivia question today, again, was Mpo Gift Ngolpe is an African professional baseball player. He played in the Atlantic League, played 2 years in the MLB. This one swung on, a ground ball over to first. The first baseman, Luis Castro, takes it himself to the bag for the first out. There's one away in the second. So, Ngolpe plays baseball. He played in the MLB. He is the only player from the continent of Africa to reach Major League Baseball. The question is, which African country is he from? We have our very own David Martin in the comments section who says Nigeria and South Africa. These are good guesses. I can't say if they're right or wrong yet. I want to give some more fans a chance to try to answer. Put your answer in the YouTube chat as the first pitch is a called strike on Braxton Lee. The 0-1. A little bit up and away, and the count of ball and a strike on the left-handed hitter. Lee bats from the left side. The pitcher, Marcus Walden, ready. It's taken quite a long time to get his sign from the catcher, Alex Holdenbach, but here is the pitch. Swinging a high fly ball, third base side, going to get up and out of play on top of the Legends Club. And the ball goes down right in front of the railing there. A couple kids are going to try to jump up and get it. The kid with the red sweatshirt gets the baseball. Always fun to see some kids get a pop-up. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swinging a foul ball on a defensive swing over to the third base side toward the Blue Crabs bullpen. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes on the lefty Braxton Lee. 1 away, bottom of the second inning. Base paths are empty. Walden set. Here's the 1-2. Swinging a high pop-up foul behind home plate, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, the Honey Hunters scored 2 in the top of the first. Off of 3 hits and an error, a leadoff single from Davis, an RBI triple from Reinheimer, an error at short by Baca, followed by a single from Luis Roman. Drove in 2 runs on 5 hits. Here's the 1-2, swinging a hard line drive, but it's right at the left fielder, Reese Hampton, who takes 3 steps back and makes a one-handed catch shoulder high for the second out. So 2 away now in the bottom of the second inning. Haven't seen any new answers yet, so we're going to go ahead and give you the answer to our trivia question. Mpo Gift Ngolpe is from which African country? He is the only Major League Baseball player in history to be from continental Africa. Played 2 years in the big leagues, most recently in the Atlantic League and the Frontier League. This one swung on, drifted high in the air, deep center field, and an over-the-shoulder catch made by Johnny Davis to end the second inning. Well, we're going to give you the answer to our trivia question before we go to break here. Ngolpe is from South Africa. Well done, David Martin, who got the answer to our question right. He guessed Nigeria and South Africa. It's good enough for us. He got one of them correct. We'll go to break. When we come back, it's the Honey Hunters coming to bat, 2-0. Gastonia after 2. Top of the third inning from Regency Furniture Stadium on Baseball and Education Day, as it is a 2-0 advantage for the Honey Hunters in the top of the third. First pitch ran inside on the 3-hitter, Joseph Rosa. Blue Crabs got out of a jam in the second inning after Jake Reinheimer, who produced big time in the first with an RBI triple, grounded into a 5-4-3 double play in the third. Here's the pitch. Swung on a high pop-up from Rosa. Foul territory. Rye chases over to the screen and gets 2 or 3 rows deep behind home plate. Just directly over that protective netting. Base paths empty and nobody out. Top of the third inning as the Honey Hunters have a 2-0 lead over the Blue Crabs. Just mentioned moments ago, it was Jake Reinheimer who drove in one of the runs. Reinheimer later came around to score on an error made by the shortstop Michael Baca. The 1-1 pitch is up and in. Count 2 balls and a strike. Rosa struck out his first time up. 2-1 is low, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Eddie Butler, not someone who's prone to walking a lot of guys. He's walked just 2 batters on the season. With the 3-1 pitch, swung on, hit high in the air, shallow right field. Braxton Lee takes a few steps over toward the right field line where he makes the catch for the first out. So 1 away in the top of the third. I'd imagine Eddie Butler could use a less stressful third inning. After the second inning, he ran into a jam with runners on the corners and 1 out. And then in the first inning, he allowed 4 base runners, including 3 hits and 2 runs. Well, Butler can go deep into this game, and after having allowed 2 in the first, if he can turn things around, he could turn this into a strong start. But the Blue Crabs bats have to start to get going. First pitch is up and in for ball 1 on the 4-hitter, Zach Jarrett. Jarrett, the designated hitter today. Jarrett had a slow ground ball towards second that drove in Jack Reinheimer. The 1-1 upstairs. Count 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 pitch, swinging a chopper, foul, third base side. It's going to get into the seats. And the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Here is the 2-1 pitch. Called strike 2 and the count 2-2. We had, I believe, one of our ushers there go right in front of the camera, so you might have got a look at him. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swinging a ground ball, first base side. Fielded on the backhand by Walker. He flips to Butler, covering first in time for the second out. Nicely done by Jared Walker, fielding that ball on the backhand before making the flip to the pitcher, Eddie Butler. And there are 2 away. So 5 consecutive outs recorded by Eddie Butler over the last 4 batters. Had a fielder's choice to Johnny Davis. Had a 5-4-3 double play from Reinheimer, a fly out from Rosa, and now a ground out from Jarrett. So after 6 of the first 9 batters recorded either hits or reached via an error, he's gotten the last 4. There's the pitch. Breaking ball, cut on and missed the shoe top level from Luis Roman on a pitch inside. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. It's always fun to come to the ballpark as a kid as the 0-1 pitch swung on and missed. Very similar pitch, breaking ball low and out of the zone in the count 0-2. Baseball on Education Day here at the ballpark. elementary school kids, middle schoolers, may even be a group of high schoolers there. But a lot of elementary school children here at the ballpark. And the 0-2, another breaking ball. Swung on and missed. Butler went with 3 breaking balls, and Luis Roman swings at each and every one of them. It's a 3-pitch strikeout for Eddie Butler to end the 3rd inning. The end of 2.5, it is the Honey Hunters 2 and the Blue Crabs nothing. Southern Maryland coming to bat in the bottom of the 3rd when we come back. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 2-0 Honey Hunters over the Blue Crabs. As Austin Rye steps in from the right side. 2-0 Honey Hunters in the bottom of the 3rd. First pitch swinging from Rye, chopped over toward Ray Ortega, the 3rd base coach and hitting coach for the Blue Crabs, as he tosses into the Blue Crabs dugout. We'll see, maybe a lucky fan will get that ball. Count no balls and 1 strike on the 8-hitter Austin Rye. 8-9-1. Austin Rye followed by Michael Baca and Jack Sundberg here in the bottom of the 3rd for Southern Maryland. Honey Hunters scored 2 in the 1st. That's all the scoring that's gone on so far in this game. As the 0-1 is a fastball right down Darrell Thompson drive in the count 0-2. For those of you unfamiliar, Darrell Thompson drive was just put in place last Saturday. On Darrell Thompson Day, Blue Crabs pitcher and Atlantic League great. Here's the 0-2. Oh, came up and in and hit Rye. And there's a runner on first base with nobody out. Came up and hit Austin Rye, what appeared to be on either the forearm area, maybe hit him in the upper arm, but it was honestly a little bit tough to see. Hit him in the upper body area. And he initially winced, but he seemed to shake it off. And there's a runner on first now with nobody out. Here comes Michael Baca. Baca had a solo home run in yesterday's game in the 7th inning. Extended a 1-run lead to a 2-run lead. Here's the first pitch. Fastball below the knees in the count. 1 ball and no strikes. Here is the 1-0 pitch. Upcoming to Michael Baca. Swinging a high chopper toward 3rd. This could be 2. On to 2nd for 1. Back on to 1st. A double play. 5-4-3 as the 3rd baseman Luis Roman was playing a little bit in. Fielded that ball right around shoulder level. made a quick throw to second, and Rosa had a lot of time to turn to and make the throw to first in time. So Baca had a very productive day yesterday, but grounds into a 5-4-3 double play here. And there are quickly 2 away in the third. The second 5-4-3 double play of the game. The Blue Crabs turned one when Ian Yetzko tossed to Raul Shah, who threw on to Jared Walker for the out. This time, Ramon to Rosa to Castro for the 5-4-3. First pitch away to the leadoff hitter in the Blue Crabs lineup. It's Jack Sundberg, who flied out to left field his first time up. Southern Maryland comes into this game with a very healthy 6.5 game lead over the Long Island Ducks, who are just 7-9 on the season. There's the pitch, called strike on Sundberg. In the count, 1-1 with 2 outs in the bottom of the third inning. On deck, it's Ian Yetzko, who is now in the midst of a 4-game hitting streak. Here's the pitch, check swing, he went around. And the count, 1-2. Sundberg seen his batting average drop from right around 360 to the mid-200s. But he still gets on base at nearly a 500 rate. 1-2 pitch, a called strike 3 on the inner half, and that will end the third inning. So at the end of 3, it's 2-0 Gastonia. You're listening to the Blue Crabs Broadcast Network, brought to you by Hometown Real Estate. Back from Regency Furniture Stadium in the top of the 4th inning. First pitch swung on and fouled back from Reese Hampton. In the count, no balls and 1 strike on the left-handed hitter. 2-0 Honey Hunters here in the top of the 4th. Eddie Butler ran into trouble in both the first and second innings. Allowed 2 runs in the first. Found himself in a first and third 1-out jam in the second, but got a double play ball from Ian Yetzko. Or it was Jake Reinheimer who grounded into it. Ian Yetzko started the 5-4-3 double play as the 0-1 pitch is away for ball 1 on Reese Hampton. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch. A little below the knees in the count. 2 balls and 1 strike. Glad you could join us here on Baseball and Education Day. The 2-1, called strike in the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Eddie Butler, through 3 innings of work, has thrown 51 pitches. 2-2 pitch, swinging a ground ball through the right side for a base hit. Reese Hampton on with a single. And there is one on with nobody out. And the first base runner of the inning, the leadoff man, has reached in 3 of the first 4 innings. It was Johnny Davis who singled and came around to score in the first. Luis Castro who singled and reached third in the second. The only one who didn't was Joseph Rosa, who flied out to right to start the 3rd inning. But Eddie Butler will be working out of the stretch once more. Have to deal with the base runner with Jake Skoll coming to the plate. It is the 6th hit of the game from the Honey Hunters. It's the most hits that Eddie Butler has allowed yet in a start. Here's the pitch, swinging a high fly ball, deep center field. Sundberg back to the warning track. It's off the wall. He throws in quickly, and Reese Hampton held up at third, but it's a double off the batter's eye, about 2/3 the way up the batter's eye. That ball was hit 400 feet and probably would have gone about 405 on the fly. But it is a double here in the 4th. And now the Honey Hunters have runners on 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. Already have a 2-0 lead to show for it, but Jake Skoll, who flied out deep to left center back in the 1st inning, doesn't fly out this time. He hits it to straightaway center and goes off the batter's eye. So runners on 2nd and 3rd now as Luis Castro steps in. He's batting just 100 on the season. Here's the pitch. Wave and a miss and a breaking ball low and out of the zone in the count 0-1. Well, it's Skoll from 2nd, Hampton from 3rd with nobody out in the top of the 4th, and Eddie Butler's found himself in trouble once again. 0-1 pitch, breaking ball up and in on Luis Castro. And the count, a ball and a strike. Coming into this game, Castro was 0 for 9 with 4 strikeouts. As the 1-2 pitch, or the 1-1 pitch, I should say, swung on and missed. Now the count 1-2. Runners on 2nd and 3rd. Nobody out. 2-0 Honey Hunters. They scored 2 runs back in the top of the 1st inning. And have runners on 2nd and 3rd in the top of the 4th. 1-2, breaking ball, checked his swing. And the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes on the righty. We'll have our second question for Baseball and Education Day coming up in the bottom of the 4th inning. To have some time, you've got to create these questions. I don't go to some website and look them up. That's not how this works. 2-2 pitch, swinging a high pop-up. Foul ground in the infield. It's Jared Walker who drifts over toward the dugout of the Honey Hunters, and he makes the catch for the 1st out. It's a big 1st out as it holds the runners where they are. So now runners on 2nd and 3rd with 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Here is Alex Holderbach, who wears number 11 and bats from the right side. Hampton from 3rd, Skoll from 2nd. Honey Hunters 2, Blue Crabs nothing. Here's the pitch. A little low and away. And the count 1 ball and no strikes. The 2 runs scored in the 1st inning, courtesy of Jake Reinheimer's RBI triple, and an error made by Baca that allowed Reinheimer to come around and score. I think regardless of the error, he probably would have scored anyway, as Luis Roman picked up a base hit as the next batter. The pitch cut on and fouled off, first base side, out of play. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike now on Alex Holderbach. Two runners in scoring position for the Honey Hunters. They look to extend their 2-0 lead here in the top of the 4th. Eddie Butler trying to work himself out of a jam. Here's the 1-1. Cut on and fouled back to the protective netting. And the count 1-2. Alex Holderbach, for a 9-hitter, hits very well at 294. Sort of gives them that wraparound opportunity. He hits 294 before Johnny Davis and Jake Reinheimer step in, who both hit well over 300 at 333 and 343 respectively. Butler kicks some dirt off the rubber, steps off, now steps back on. Hampton from third, Skoll from second. Skoll with a sizable lead from second base. Here's the pitch. Swinging a high fly ball, foul, first base side. And gets into the seats. We're happy to have you with us. It's a fun day at the ballpark here at the Reg Inn Waldorf. Our friend Andrew Banstra, who was with us yesterday in the booth, is down on the field today. Infield in, as Baca and Shaw are on the grass and in the infield. Here's the pitch, swinging a high fly ball, first base side, fouling out of play, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Runners on second and third. Baca and Shaw on the infield grass. 1-2. Pitch called strike 3. Ian Pinger punches out Alex Holderbach, and there are 2 away. So after a leadoff single from Luis Roman and a double from Jake Skoll, Luis Castro popped down to first, and Alex Holderbach goes down looking for the 3rd strikeout of the game. And that brings up the top of the order. It's Johnny Davis' 3rd at bat. We're only in the top of the 4th inning. Here's the first pitch swinging. It's fouled off on a roller to the first base side, and the count, no balls and 1 strike on Johnny Davis. Well, after Gastonia put 2 runners in scoring position to start the inning, been unable to bring anybody home yet, but it is the 2 top hitters in the Honey Hunters lineup to follow, with Davis and Reinheimer hitting 333 and 343 apiece. 0-1, cut on and tap foul again, first base side. Very similar spot to the last ground ball. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes. And now if you're Eddie Butler, have a couple of opportunities to try to waste the pitch, or maybe not waste the pitch, but at least induce a swing and a miss. Going high out of the zone with a fastball, maybe low in the dirt with a breaking ball, but you don't want to risk it too much, especially a ball in the dirt. If Austin Rye has trouble handling it, could allow Reese Hampton to score from third base. Either way, the count, no balls and 2 strikes. On the leadoff man, Johnny Davis, who bats with runners on second and third and 2 outs here in the 4th. Honey Hunters have out-hit the Blue Crabs 7-1, have 2 hits in the 4th inning. Here is the 0-2. Defensive swing, fouled back to the netting. And the count remains 0-2. We had some dog trivia questions yesterday. We've got some baseball geography questions today. trying to keep you on your toes with those questions. We got our next one coming up in the bottom of the 4th inning, so stay tuned for that one. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Davis goes down swinging. The Honey Hunters had a single and a double. Runners on 2nd and 3rd with nobody out in the top of the 4th, but they're stranded there following a pop out and back-to-back Ks from Eddie Butler. We're finished with 3.5 from Regency Furniture Stadium. It's the Honey Hunters 2 and the Blue Crabs nothing on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 4th inning, 2-0 Honey Hunters as the Blue Crabs send 2, 3, and 4 in the order to the plate. Ian Yetzko followed by Jared Walker and David Harris. First pitch, fastball a little bit in the count, 1 ball and no strikes on the righty. So Yetzko followed by Walker and Harris. Yetzko singled in the first. The 1-0 pitch is away in the count, 2 balls and no strikes on the righty. Yetzko 4 for 10 so far in a Blue Crabs uniform. Hit .210 last year in the American Association before joining the Blue Crabs. The 400, definitely not a bad start to the year for the right-handed hitter. The pitch swung on, hit high in the air, right field, somewhat deep. Jake Skoll drifts back onto the warning track where he makes the catch in front of the wall for the first out. Ball pretty well hit, and it carried a little bit as the wind is blowing out a little bit toward right field. Not the heaviest of winds. More than anything, though, it's blowing in from left. So there is one away in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here comes Jared Walker. Grounded into a fielder's choice back in the first. Blue Crabs still trying to get themselves on the board. First pitch. Fastball, belt high, called strike on the inner half. In the count 0-1. Harris stands on deck. Harris, the designated hitter, has played in every game so far this year. 0-1. Big wave and a miss. Set a pitch down by the shoe tops. It was a fastball. It was just low on the count. 0-2 after a swing and a miss. The 0-2 upcoming to Walker. Here's the pitch. Cut on and fouled back. Got a piece of that one. Yesterday, Jared Walker was 0 for 3 with a walk. He did come around and score. David Harris has a 4-game hit streak to his name today. Hitting only .250 during that stretch, though. 0-2. Swinging a line drive, foul, back behind home plate toward the netting. And the count remains 0-2. Base paths empty with one away in the bottom of the fourth. Still 2-0 Honey Hunters. They scored those runs way back in the top of the first inning and no runs since then. Eddie Butler has found himself in a couple of jams, one in the second and one in the fourth. But he has managed to keep the Honey Hunters off the board. Picked up back-to-back strikeouts, most recently to do so. 0-2, breaking ball, called strike 3 on the outer half. As Ian Pittenger rings up Jared Walker, and they're back-to-back outs here in the fourth inning, and Marcus Walden seems to have really settled down nicely. He's allowed just one hit from the Blue Crabs. It was to Ian Yetzko way back in the first inning. When I say settled down, it's really just been a star-studded outing from Marcus Walden. The Blue Crabs have struggled to solve the Honey Hunters pitchers throughout the entire series. First pitch, fastball, belt high, called strike on David Harris. Southern Maryland was shut out back in Game 1, scored 4 runs in Game 2. And don't have a run, have just one hit to show for it through 4 innings. 0-1 pitch, called strike. And David Harris has fallen behind in the count 0-2. Base path's empty, 2 outs. Walden, the 0-2 pitch. Fouled back. Harris got just a bit of a piece on that ball. Well, Walden has thrown just 40 pitches through 3 2/3. He could go very deep into this outing if he can keep this up. 0-2, low into the dirt in the count 1-2. On the other hand, Butler has thrown 69 pitches through 4 innings of work. And if his pitch count's going to be 100 today, he's got a shot at going 6 or so. And he can hold the Honey Hunters at 2 runs. It's still a pretty solid outing, but ran into a lot of trouble in the first, the third, and the fourth. Or first, second, and fourth, I should say. And is really lucky that he's been able to keep the Honey Hunters just 2. They're allowing a single and a double to lead off the top of the fourth inning. Worked his way out of trouble. Home plate umpire Ian Pittenger calls time as Harris steps out and now digs back in. The 0-2, up and in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We told you there'd be another trivia question coming for you. So our trivia question is another geography-related trivia question. And the question is, from which South American country are there the most big league baseball players? We'll give you the answer in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1-2 pitches cut on and fouled back. So our first question was about the first ever African pitcher to reach Major League Baseball. And this question is, which country in South America, there are only 14 South American countries, you have good odds here, has produced the most major leaguers? You have to have an idea right off the bat. There are a couple countries there you have to think about. Write it in the YouTube chat. The 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. David Harris goes down swinging to end the bottom of the 4th inning. Well, the Blue Crabs sent down an order 1, 2, 3. We head to the top of the 5th. It's still 2-0 Honey Hunters. Top of the 5th inning from Regency Furniture Stadium. First pitch is cut on and missed. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. On the 2-hitter, Jake Reinheimer here in the top of the 5th inning. 2-0 Honey Hunters. The 0-1 swung on and ripped foul. Third base side just by maybe a foot down that third base line. Would have been extra bases for sure. And Jake Reinheimer has already had extra bases once in this game. Had an RBI triple back in the first inning. He drove in a run and scored a run. Since then, the bats for both sides haven't produced a run. Not to say they've been quiet, though, as the 0-2 pitch runs a little low and away, and the count 1-2. The Honey Hunters have produced 7 hits in this ball game. Here is the 1-2. Swinging a ground ball over to short, easily fielded by Baca. Makes a throw to first in time for the out. Throws a little offline toward the first base side, but a nice stretch from Jared Walker to make the catch. We couldn't be happier to have you with us here on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. And again, we've got a trivia question we want you to answer. The question is, from which South American country are the most Major League Baseball players? Remember, it's South America. So you have to think the Caribbean is not in South America. So we're not asking about any country that's not the U.S. or Canada here. We're asking about just South America. So Central America doesn't count either. Pitch swung on and fouled away, first base side. So we see an answer, the Dominican Republic, from Brandon Black. That's not correct because the Dominican Republic is not in South America. The count, 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1, cut on a foul tip into Austin Rye's mitt, and the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Our friend David Martin is asking a couple of questions. He asks, who's the first Major League Baseball player from Lithuania as the 1-2 is fouled off first base side? And who's the first one from India? You know what? We'll add those in a little later. All right? I like the questions. All right? Keep them coming. But our official questions, our first 2, were what country was the first ever African baseball player from? The answer was South Africa. And then our second question, which South American country produces the most Major League Baseball players? The 1-2 pitch is away, and the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Either way, I appreciate Brandon Black's answer. It just doesn't count because it's not in South America. It does have the second most MLB players produced, though. 2-2, swung on, a high fly ball, left field, easily playable for Zach Collier, who takes just a couple steps over and makes an easy one-handed grab, chest level, for the second out. So 2 away, and Eddie Butler has retired 5 straight. Well, there were runners on second and third and nobody out in the fourth, and he retired the next 3 in order with a pop out and a pair of Ks. First pitch, breaking ball in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Eddie Butler has now thrown 80 pitches through 4 2/3. No action in the Blue Crabs bullpen yet. The pitch cut on and missed. In the count, 1 ball and 1 strike on the righty, Zach Jarrett. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, called strike at the knees in the count, 1-2. You know, I never went to a baseball game as a student. I went to a lot of baseball games growing up with my family and my brother, and both my brothers, really. Is the 1-2 pitch low in the dirt, nicely blocked by the catcher, Austin Rye. But I never went to a game with other students. I went to games with friends too, but it's got to be a real blast, Instead of staying in the classroom all day, you get outside, get to watch some baseball, watch the Blue Crabs try to have the best record in the Atlantic League. They're tied for the top record right now with the Honey Hunters, who they're playing. The 2-2, swing and a miss, struck him out. Eddie Butler has retired 6 straight, and he fans Zach Jarrett to end the top of the 5th inning. We're halfway done at the Reg in Waldorf. It's 2-0 Honey Hunters. Stick with us. Bottom of the 5th inning from Regency Furniture Stadium. It's Zach Collier who steps in from the left side. First pitch called strike on the inner half, and the count 0-1. It'll be Collier followed by Braxton Lee and Raul Shah as the Blue Crabs trail 2-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Well, we already mentioned our trivia question here. It will be answered here in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs. The 0-1 swung on and missed, and the count 0-2. For those of you just joining us, the question is, which South American country has the most Major League Baseball players? Remember, it has to be in South America. And the 0-2. Big wave and a miss, struck him out. Collier goes down swinging. 3 consecutive strikeouts for Marcus Walden, who has been dealing 4 1/3 innings of work for Walden. He's allowed just 1 hit. And it was the second batter of the game, Ian Yetzko. Well, Walden has thrown just 47 pitches through 4 1/3. Yesterday we saw Mitch Lampson go all 9 innings. He allowed just 3 hits and 1 walk. Well, Marcus Walden might be able to do the same today. He's on pace, I should say. And here is the first pitch to Braxton Lee. It's cut on and tap foul, first base side. As of right now, it looks like Eddie Butler will be back out for the 5th inning of work. For the 6th inning, I should say. He's gone 5 innings, allowed just 2 runs. He has allowed 7 hits, hasn't walked a batter yet. As the 0-1 is up and away, and the count 1-1. Braxton Lee followed by Raul Shah. Base paths empty. Bottom of the 4th inning with the base paths empty. Again, with 2 outs, we'll give you the answer to our trivia question today. There's still time to answer who was the first, or which country has the most, which South American country has the most Major League Baseball players. I beg your pardon. It has to be from South America. As the 1-1 pitch is foul on top of home plate. Pitch, 1-2, swung on, a ground ball, first base side, it's going to get past the first baseman, Castro, Lee digging for second, and he's in safely. Heads up play by Braxton Lee, that ball wasn't fielded cleanly by Luis Castro, and he finds himself on second base with a 1-out double. We'll have to see if that goes down as a hit or an error, as Castro had some trouble handling it. And it is the second hit of the game for the Blue Crabs. As Braxton Lee picks up another base hit. And here is Raul Shah with a runner on second and 1 out. First pitch low in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Braxton Lee's really starting to hit the ball well. Extends his hitting streak to 5 games with that base hit. Was 2 for 4 yesterday. So it's Lee from second with Raul Shah at the plate. Pitch swung on, a line drive right to second base, where the second baseman Joseph Rosa makes the catch, but scurrying back to the bag with plenty of time, Braxton Lee. So still a runner on second base with 2 outs. And here comes Austin Rye. So about time we give you the answer to that trivia question. Which South American country has the most Major League Baseball players? And the answer is Venezuela. So a few of you got that question right in the comments. So we had Matinee Nimic, who, well, she thought Venezuela first, it looks like, and has then gone with Colombia. Nish Apple 1 guesses Venezuela, that's correct. Awesome Challenges guessed Venezuela, also correct. Brandon Black originally went with Dominican Republic, but that's not a South American country, so it wasn't eligible, and he recognized that. But, yeah, we did pretty well. A few guys got this question right. Well done, everybody. And I apologize if I pronounced your name incorrectly, Matinati Nimic, whose first guess was Venezuela, or first thought was, but then guessed Colombia since it had already been guessed. So well done, Matinati. There's a pitch to Austin Rye, lifted high in the air, down the right field line. It's going to drop into the corner. 1 run scores. Rye into second base with a 1-out double. Well, he didn't hit that ball all that far, but it was placed perfectly in the right field corner, and it's an RBI double from Austin Rye, the catcher who comes through. So Braxton Lee comes around from second to score, and the Blue Crabs have a pair of doubles in the 5th, and they cut the deficit to 2-1. And here comes Michael Baca. Baca steps in from the right side. He's 0 for 1. He grounded into a 5-4-3 double play his first time up. Takes a called strike on the inner half. Austin Rye from second. Reached base twice and driven in a run. 0-1, swinging a hard ground ball, third base side foul. send some Blue Crabs pitchers in the bullpen out of the way. May have been Darryl Thompson who was standing facing the rest of the bullpen. I'm not 100% sure it was him, though, as I think he's talking to Matt Latos over there. Latos warmed up yesterday, never ended up going into the game as Mitchell Amson went a full 9. Runner on second, 2 outs. Count 0-2. Pitch swung on and fouled back to the netting. Behind home plate, and the count remains. No balls and 2 strikes. Blue Crabs have gotten one back. It's a 2-1 game here in the 5th. And the 0-2 is away. So we find out that the person who answered Venezuela, or thought Venezuela first, and guessed Colombia in our YouTube chat. This is Matt. So he goes like Matt, and it was a play on the word manatee. Matanatee, I guess, is what the idea was. But glad we could get that all straightened out. So Matt thought Venezuela, and he was right for the first part, but tried to mix it up with Colombia, which is a good guess. And I think they're probably second among South American countries. They are. They have 11 former big leaguers. Well, the Blue Crabs have a runner on second base in the bottom of the 5th inning. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Michael Baca. Here's the 1-2 pitch, low and away, and the count 2-2. Well, it was the Honey Hunters who scored 2 runs way back in the top of the 1st inning. Had a leadoff single followed by an RBI triple. And Jake Reinheimer ended up scoring on an error by the shortstop Baca. Well, Baca's got a chance to make up for that now, as he has a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. That one bounces in front of home plate. Nicely blocked by the catcher Alex Holderbach. In the count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. He's worked a deep count on the pitcher Marcus Walbin, who had a terrific start to this game. Had thrown just over 40 pitches coming in to the 5th inning, but has now worked up to a count of 20 pitches. This will be the 21st of the inning from Marcus Walbin. Allowed a run as well in the inning. And the 8th pitch of the at-bat to Baca. Here's the offering. Swung on a miss, struck him out. A long battle, but Marcus Walbin beats Baca with the strikeout to end the 5th inning, but not before the Blue Crabs score 1 on an RBI double down the right field line from Austin Rye. It's 2-1 Honey Hunters. Stick with us as we head to the top of the 6th. Top of the 6th inning, Eddie Butler back out on the mound. There is some action in the Blue Crabs bullpen. As the first pitch from Butler, a breaking ball low and in for ball 1. Top of the 6th inning, and the Honey Hunters have a 2-1 lead. And there's the pitch, a called strike, or a swinging strike, I should say. And the count, 1 ball and 1 strike on the lefty. Well, a pair of doubles got a run back in the bottom of the 5th for Southern Maryland. A double from Braxton Lee and a double from Austin Rye. That pitch swung on, a slow roller over to first, and it's flipped to the covering pitcher, Eddie Butler, for the out. And there is one away in the top of the 6th. Well, Eddie Butler has really settled down here in this game. Had a really tough inning in the first, allowed 2 hits in the second, had a leadoff single followed by a double in the 4th, but since then has retired 7 straight. Here's Reese Hampton, the lefty. First pitch, a little up and away in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. One 0 pitch. Swinging a high pop-up in foul ground. Yetzko went in foul ground, back into fair ground where he makes the catch for the final out. Those pop-ups hang up in the air a long time and can be a little tricky for an infielder to track, as it's not really going anywhere as distance-wise, and it's just sort of fluttering up in the air, which make those a little more difficult to track. But Yetzko made the catch, and there are 2 away. So 2 up and 2 down here in the 6th. And here comes Jake Skoll. Pitch, check, swing. Motion down to the third base umpire, John Thomas, who raises his fist to mark strike 1. Heavy shift for the Blue Crabs here. 3 fielders on the first base side of second. It's only Ian Yetzko who's playing more in the shortstop position than anything else. 0-1. Big wave and a miss, and the count 0-2. You mentioned John Thomas made the strike call over at third base a couple moments ago. And John Thomas, I asked him today, do you have a nickname? Do you want to go by JT, Johnny Thomas? He said, no, just John Thomas, that'll do. Over at third base, our friend Bill, or first base I should say, our friend Bill the Skill Worthington. We got some creativity out of him, and he says he's okay with it. He's not a huge fan of it, but he likes it enough. Base path's empty with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch. Swinging a tapper, foul, first base side. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jake Skoll. Again, there is action in the Blue Crabs bullpen. I'd have to imagine we're going to see Andres Briseño or Matt Latos today, unless this one's out of hand. But 1-2 pitch, cut on and fouled back behind home plate. Austin Rye may have gotten a bit of a piece of it with his glove, but not enough to squeeze for strike 3. So count remains 1-2 on Jake Skoll with 2 away in the top of the 6th. Still a 1-run lead for the Honey Hunters. And there is the catch for the final out of the inning. So the Blue Crabs get out of it here in the top of the 6th. We're finished with 5.5. It is 2-1. Honey Hunters as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and a massive wasp flies around just outside our booth. And that will end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th here on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Stick with us. Well, we are back in the bottom of the sixth inning. We apologize for the delay there as Jack Sundberg flied out to left field to start the inning. One away in the bottom of the sixth. That ball came low and in on Ian Yetzko. And the count 1 ball and no strikes. 2-1 Honey Hunters over the Blue Crabs. Glad to have you with us here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Overcast skies here at the Reagan Waldorf as the pitch is swung on. Dribbled foul, third base side. Base paths are empty with 1 away. Yetzko 1 for 2 in today's contest. And the 0-1 is low and away, and they'll count 1 ball and 1 strike. Or I beg your pardon, 2 balls and 1 strike. And the home plate umpire, Ian Pittenger, wants to make sure everybody is aware that it is in fact 2 balls and 1 strike. After the swing and a miss, the count is 2-2 on the righty Yetzko. Blue Crabs looking to even the score here on Baseball and Education Day as the 2-2 is low and away and the count 3-2. Well, we had a question that was asked by our very own David Martin, who was the first ever baseball player from India. Well, we have not seen a Major League Baseball player yet from India. There were 2 players in that from that movie $1 Million Arm as the 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed by Yetzko, and they're 2 away. In the movie $1 Million Arm, there were a couple of players who were actually signed into the Pirates organization. Dinesh Kumar Patel played in the Pirates organization, but didn't get past A ball. There were a number of Native American Indians who have played in Major League Baseball, as many as 47. Most recently, Jacoby Ellsbury, but nobody from the country of India who has made it all the way to Major League Baseball. His other question, who was the first player from Lithuania, will sit on that one for a while. First pitch is swung on and fouled over to the right side, and the count 0-1. We'll get you that in the top of the 7th inning. We'll have one final baseball and education question in the bottom of the 7th. So stay tuned for that one. And if you think you might know who the first ever baseball player from Lithuania was, or if there was one, write it in our chat. 2 away. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Walker, swinging a ground ball, first base side. Nicely fielded by Castro. He'll step on the bag, and that will do it. 1, 2, 3 go the Blue Crabs in the bottom of the 6th. As Sundberg, Yetzko, and Walker are retired in order. We are finished with 6 innings of play. It's the Honey Hunters 2 and the Blue Crabs 1. Southern Maryland goes to the bullpen when we come back. Top of the 7th inning, new pitcher comes in for Southern Maryland. It is Dalton Geeky who comes in for Southern Maryland. First pitch at the belt for a called strike. Count no balls and 1 strike. Geeky has a 3.86 ERA, has pitched in 7 innings this year. Here's the pitch. Called strike. And the count 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes on Luis Castro. The 0-2, a little bit low and away, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Eddie Butler's afternoon is complete. He went 6 innings of work. He allowed just 7 hits and 2 runs. The 1-2, swing and a miss, struck him out. Geeky records a strikeout for the first out in the top of the 7th inning. Let's run through Geeky's most recent games. Pitch against the Wild Health Genomes on the road on May the 6th. Went 1 inning, allowed 1 hit and no runs. Tired Lancaster in order 1-2-3 back on the 4th of May. Allowed 2 unearned runs against the Wild Health Genomes back on May 1st. As the first pitch is low for ball 1. Geeky has not allowed an earned run since April 23rd. His last 5 appearances have been pretty solid. He's gone 5 innings, allowed just 4 hits and no earned runs. And the 1-0 is swung on and tapped foul behind home plate. He has walked 5 batters in 7 innings this year, so the control has been a bit of an issue. Count 1 ball and 1 strike in the 7th. 1 away. Here's the pitch. Low and away, count 2-1. The Honey Hunters' bats have been quiet since the first when they scored 2 runs in the top of the 1st inning. Normally people say, oh, well, you know, the pitcher declines as he gets later into his start. Definitely not the case today with Butler, as he retired the last 9 batters he faced from the 4th through the 6th inning. 2-1, wave and a miss, count 2-2. And look, I'm someone who accepts baseball metrics for what they are. I think that they definitely play a role in today's age. There's no question about that. I think there's some real positives that you can take out of it. I think the fact that the ball is hit hard, it matters, right? I think it's, if you say that it doesn't matter, a ball is hard hit, well, I don't think you're looking at it fairly. So I think exit velocity means something, but it's not everything. As the 2-2 pitch is missed away in the count 3-2. And teams are very much into launch angle now. But a lot of the other attributes that players have, like bunts and small ball and running the bases, have largely been put to the side in favor of walks, home runs, and strikeouts. It's the name of the game today, and anything else today has now become very interesting because it's unique. 3-2. Called strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts from Dalton Geeky. And there are 2 away. So 2 outs now. As it's back to the top of the order with Johnny Davis. First pitch at the belt, a called strike, and the count 0-1. And the first pitch, or the pitch I should say, the 0-1 is swung on and missed. The count 0-2 now on the lefty with 2 away in the top of the 7th. So far, a very strong performance from Dalton Geeky. A pair of swinging strikeouts. The 0-2 cut on and foul back overhead, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Well, I should say one was a swinging strikeout. Alex Holderbach called out on strikes by the home plate umpire Ian Pittenger. Well, Johnny Davis points his bat back towards center field. The 0-2, ooh, just off the inner edge, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dalton Geeky, one of a few pitchers who sort of served as that 7th inning guy for the Blue Crabs. Nick Wells, another one. Patrick Baker, another guy. And there's the 0-2, the 1-2 pitch, I should say, is a called strike 3. Ian Pittenger rings up Johnny Davis. How about that for a 1-2-3 inning? As Dalton Geeky strikes out the side. A strikeout swinging from Luis Castro as Holderbach and Davis go down looking. It's time to stretch in Waldorf. 7th inning stretch time as the Honey Hunters still have a 2-1 lead from Regency Furniture Stadium. Bottom of the 7th inning, as David Harris will lead things off for Southern Maryland as the Blue Crabs trail 2-1. New pitcher on the mound for Gastonia. First pitch from Quinton Torres Costa. It's a called strike on the inner half, and the count 0-1 on Harris. Count no balls and 1 strike on the righty. Pitch, that's low and away, and the count even at 1-1 on Harris. 2-1 Gastonia over Southern Maryland. Those 2 runs scored way back in the top of the 1st inning. Since then, the Blue Crabs have scored 1 run. Came back in the bottom of the 5th. The 1-1 pitch is away, and the count 2-1. Blue Crabs have won 2 of their last 3 games. Won game 2 here against the Honey Hunters and won the final game of the series against the Wild Health Genomes. Blue Crabs 14-3 and Gastonia 14-3. 2-1 pitch. Big wave and a miss to the fastball up and out of the zone, and the count 2-2. Quentin Torres Castro has played in 7 games this year. We'll run you through some of the more recent performances in a moment. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Called strike 3. Thigh level. Went to a fastball, and he gets David Harris looking. And there is one away. And here comes the next batter for the Blue Crabs, Zach Collier. First pitch, a called strike on the lefty on the outer half, and the count, no balls and 1 strike. So just to get back to Quentin Torres Castro's recent numbers, he had 2 innings against Staten Island back on May 8th. Went 2 innings, allowed just 1 hit, and no runs. 1-1 pitch, that's low and away, and the count, or the 0-1 pitch I should say, and the count is now 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out, bottom of the 7th inning, the Blue Crabs looking to get something going offensively. Andres Briseño is warming up in the bullpen. He hasn't pitched since Sunday. Pitch cut on, a high pop-up in the infield. It's the first baseman, Luis Castro, who shades over into foul ground. About 10 feet foul of the first baseline. He makes the catch for the first out, for the second out, I should say. So 2 up and 2 down for the Blue Crabs here in the 7th. Braxton Lee, who doubled and came around and scored for the Blue Crabs his last time up. Base paths empty in the bottom of the 7th. 2-1 Honey Hunters. Pitch called strike on the outside corner. And the count now 1-1 as the first pitch missed low and away to Sundberg. And the count now a ball and a strike on the lefty. Or I beg your pardon, to Braxton Lee. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. In the bottom of the 7th, here's the pitch. Swung on, lined foul. Third base side out of play. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, there was a question asked by our very own David Martin as to who was the first ever baseball player from Lithuania to make the big leagues. And the answer? Dovydas Neverauskas, who is a pitcher who pitched with the Pirates and then played in Japan in the Nippon Baseball League. As the 1-2 pitch to Braxton Lee runs inside, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Neverauskas' coach is his father. He's also the coach of the youth baseball team and the national baseball team in Lithuania. 2-2, swinging a high chopper toward first. Nicely fielded by Castro. He'll step on the bag himself to end the inning. Well, the Blue Crabs sent down an order 1-2-3. We're finished with 7 innings of play. Stick with us as we head toward the 8th. It's a 2-1 lead for the Honey Hunters. Top of the 8th inning from Regency Furniture Stadium. It is the Blue Crabs who trail the Honey Hunters 2-1. As the Honey Hunters will send 2, 3, and 4 in the order to the plate against a new pitcher. It's Andres Briseño. Briseño off to a terrific start to the season. So far is 1-0 across 8 appearances. As the first pitch, this is low for ball 1, and the count 1-0. Briseño has gone 8 innings of work, allowed 5 hits. He's walked 3 and struck out 17. 1-0, a swing and a foul tip into Austin Rye's mitt, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. As Reinheimer leads things off in the 8th. The pitch, called strike on the inner half on a fastball, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Briseño, one of the hardest throwers on this team. Before Briseño came into the game, the hardest thrown pitch today came from Dalton Geeky at 96.5. 1-2 pitch, swung on a high fly ball deep left center field. It's Sundberg who ranges over and makes the catch for the first out. So rare for Briseño to get anything other than a strikeout, but he does right there after Sundberg makes the grab in left center field. Here comes Joseph Rosa. Rosa hits from the left side. Couple of numbers for you today. Jake Skoll has the furthest hit ball of the game. He hit it 400 feet right off the center field batter's eye. Also has the second furthest hit ball. He's hit the ball 334 feet to left center. First pitch runs inside on Joseph Rosa. And the count, a ball and no strikes. Hardest hit ball, or the furthest hit ball by a Blue Crab was Raul Shah, who hit the ball 341. As this pitch cut on and popped up, foul territory. Ian Yetzko there, and he makes the catch for the second out. Quick 2 up and 2 down, and actually a rare situation for Andres Briseño, who has not earned any strikeouts in the first 2 outs, but I'll tell you what, he'll take them any way he can get them at this point. You know, if you can get 2 up and 2 down via a pop-up and a fly-out, I think Briseño's doing all right. I mean, considering, though, he has 17 strikeouts on the season, it's incredible. Through just 8 2/3 innings, averaging almost 2 strikeouts per inning. Pitch, called strike on Zach Jarrett. Oh, 1 offering. Swinging a ground ball, third base line, fair ball, nicely played by Yetzko, throw to first, he got him! Oh, what a play, Ian Yetzko makes a terrific backhanded stop down the third baseline, gets up, spins, throws, and in time to get Zach Jarrett, who runs pretty well, to first base. Andres Briseño retires the side 1-2-3, doesn't get one of his trademark strikeouts, but he retires the side in order nonetheless. Blue Crabs coming to the plate in the bottom of the 8th, trying to get that run back. They trail 2-1. Stick with us on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. retires the side. Just eat and take. Stop down the. Oh, what a play! Line fair ball, nicely played by Yetzko. Throw to first. He got him. Oh, what a play! Ian Yetzko makes a terrific backhanded stop down the third baseline. Gets up, spins, throws, and in time to get Zach Jarrett, who runs pretty well at the first base. Andres Brasino retires the side 1-2-3. Doesn't get one of his trademark strikeouts, but he retires the side nonetheless. Stop down the. Oh, what a play! Line fair ball, nicely played by Yetzko. Throw to first. He got. Top of the 8th inning. The Honey Hunters have a 2-1 lead over the Blue Crabs, and Southern Maryland sends 7, 8, and 9 to the plate. Raul Shaw, followed by Austin Rye and Michael Baca. Austin Rye had a RBI double back in the 6th inning, or 5th inning, I should say. First pitch swinging from Raul Shaw is lined into right field for a base hit. Leadoff man on here in the 8th. And now Austin Rye comes to the plate. The Blue Crabs 14-3 on the season. Identical record to the Honey Hunters. One main difference, though, is where the two teams are in the standings. The Blue Crabs have a 6.5 game lead over the second place team, the Long Island Ducks, who are 7 and 9. Not the same for the Honey Hunters. And Austin Rye bunts first base side. Throw to second is in time. They get the lead out. Austin Shaw, or I beg your pardon, Raul Shaw, I don't think he was expecting a throw to come. And Austin Rye ends up just putting forth a fielder's choice. Well, going back to that last point about the standings, the Blue Crabs have a 6.5 game lead over the 7 and 9 Long Island Ducks. Gastonia has just a 1.5 game lead over the High Point Rockers, who are 13 and 5. Runner on first, 1 out. First pitch, a called strike on Michael Baca. Baca 0 for 2 today. Grounded into a 5-4-3 double play in the first, or in the third, I should say. Came up big yesterday, though. Had a massive solo shot to extend the Blue Crabs' lead. There's the pitch. It swung on line into left field for a base hit. Blue Crabs have runners on first and second with 1 out. Now this is where that bunt from Austin Rye and the base running play from Raul Shaw comes up big. The fact that the Honey Hunters got the lead out meant that the runner on second base, Raul Shaw, was out. Instead of reaching second base safely and getting the runner at first, and if there was a runner on second with 1 out with that hit, I don't think it's going to score Raul Shaw, but at least there are runners on the corners with 1 out as opposed to runners on first and second. Jack Sundberg, the leadoff hitter for the Blue Crabs, followed by Ian Yetzko. Pitch, that's away for ball 1. Count 1 ball and no strikes on the lefty. Ian Yetzko, who is 4 for 12 on the year. Across 4 games, I should say. Sundberg hitting .229 on the year. That pitch a called strike. Runners on first and second for the Blue Crabs as they trail 2-1. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on the lefty. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Went a little off balance there in the count. No, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, it is Austin Rye from second, Michael Baca from first. Bottom of the 8th inning. Jack Sundberg in a critical situation. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Sundberg goes down swinging. And here comes Ian Yetzko. And Yetzko, with 2 away and runners on first and second, is looking for his second hit of the day. In all 4 of his games he's played this year, he has 1 hit. Was 1 for 1 in his first game against the Lexington Legends back in the first series. First pitch runs inside on Yetzko, and the count 1-0. And then in his second game against Lancaster, he was 1 for 4. In yesterday's game, he was 1 for 4. So far today, he's 1 for 3. So exactly 1 hit in all 4 of his games so far. He's looking for his second here, though. Pitch, swinging a line drive, 1 hopper to third. It's going to be a tough play, and everybody will be safe. No run comes around to score. But the Blue Crabs now have the bases loaded with 2 outs. And it's time for the power-hitting Jared Walker to come to the plate. So it is Yetzko from first, Baca from second, and Rye from third. And let's see if that's going to go down as a hit or an error. It's going to be called a hit. It's the second hit of the day for Yetzko. And the bases are loaded with 2 outs on Sam Bordner, who is the pitcher for the Gastonia Honey Hunters, who has all of a sudden found himself in some trouble. Well, Bordner has allowed a trio of hits in the 8th. The Blue Crabs got the rally started early with a single from Raul Shah, a fielder's choice from Austin Rye. A single from Michael Baca. Jack Sundberg struck out, and then Ian Yetzko hit a single over to the third baseman, Luis Roman. Last time out, Bordner was good, went an inning, did not allow a run, but the previous 2 times, he allowed 4 hits in each of those 2 appearances and a run in each. First pitch gets away. They're going to send Rye to the plate. There is no throw. The Blue Crabs have tied the game at 2. A ball got by Alex Holderbach at the plate, and the Blue Crabs have even the score. It's 2-2. And a massive play for Southern Maryland. And they're still threatening here in the bottom of the 8th. Austin Rye comes around and scores to tie the game at 2. Michael Baca to third, Ian Yetzko to second. With 2 away. Count 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. It's low, and the count now 2-0. So it all started with a single from Raul Shah. He was out on a fielder's choice on a bunt from Austin Rye. A single from Baca, a strikeout from Sundberg, and a single from Yetzko low to the bases. But it's a wild pitch that allows Rye to come in and score from third. 2-0 pitch. That misses low and away, and the count 3 balls and no strikes on Jared Walker. Well, I guess they intentionally walked him for the 4th pitch, so he's on. So a runner on first base now after Walker reaches via a walk. And here comes David Harris, who's 0 for 3, but he has a 4-game hit streak going. In a big spot. Opportunity to give the Blue Crabs the lead. Well, Southern Maryland scored 1 in the 5th. And on a wild pitch here in the 8th, they've tied the game at 2. Here's the first pitch to Harris. Swung on, hit high in the air, foul, first base side. And the count 0-1. So just to recap once more. A single from Shaw, a fielder's choice from Rye. And then Baca single, strikeout from Sundberg. A Yetzko single low to the bases. A wild pitch from Sam Bordner. And then Jared Walker has reached via a walk. The wild pitch scored Austin Rye to tie the game. The pitch to Harris, the 0-1, that's away, and the count 1-1. So the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Honey Hunters scored 2 runs way back in the first inning. Here's the pitch. Swinging a high pop-up, shallow right field. It's the first baseman, Luis Castro, who runs out of room. Bounce maybe only a row deep down the right field side. But the inning remains alive after that foul pop-up from the batter, David Harris. The 7th Blue Crab hitter to come to the plate here in the 9th. With the bases loaded and 2 outs. 1 run in for Southern Maryland. And a tie 2-2 game. 1-2 pitch, the DH. Swing and a pop-up foul again. Out of play, first base side, and the count remains 1-2. Bordner has only thrown 17 pitches. But he's allowed a run, and he's faced 7 batters. He's allowed 3 hits, and he's walked 1. Allowed a run in the inning. The 1-2's upstairs, count 2-2. Tried to induce a swing and a miss from David Harris. Baca from third. Yetzko from second. Walker from first. 2 away in the 8th. 2 outs, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2-2 score. The pitch, swinging a ground ball off the middle, a base hit. From third, Baca scores. They wave around Yetzko. He scores. A 2 RBI single from David Harris. And the Blue Crabs have a 4-2 lead in the 8th. Well, a massive base hit from David Harris. He extends his hit streak to 5 games, and he drives in 2 massive runs here in the bottom of the 8th, and the Blue Crabs have a 4-2 advantage over the Honey Hunters. Well, Gastonia scored 2 in the first. Their bats have been quiet, and the Blue Crabs' bats have been quiet as well. But here in the 8th inning, it's 4 hits, and they've scored 3 runs as the first pitch is cut on and missed from Zach Collier. And the count 0-1, but the Blue Crabs with a massive base hit from David Harris on a ground ball up the middle has given the Blue Crabs a 4-2 lead. Well, it doesn't get any bigger than that for David Harris late in this game. As Zach Collier steps in from the left side. Now it's Walker from second and Harris from first. The Blue Crabs aren't done yet. Here's the pitch. Swing and a foul chopper, first base side. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes on Walker. Well, glad you could join us. On a very nice afternoon, some sun peeking through the clouds now on Baseball and Education Day. 4-2 Southern Maryland. Pitch, that one misses away, and the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. 3 runs in this inning for the Blue Crabs. One in the 5th, 3 in the 8th. Pitch swung on and missed, and Zach Collier goes down swinging, so Sam Bordner earns the strikeout, but not before 3 runs come in and score for the Blue Crabs. They've got a 4-2 lead here in the bottom of the 8th. After a wild pitch from Sam Bordner, it's a 2 RBI single from David Harris to give the Blue Crabs a 4-2 lead. We go to the top of the 9th. Matt Lato's going to try to come in and get the save to give the Blue Crabs the rubber game of this 3-game set against the Honey Hunters. Don't go anywhere. Top of the 9th is next.
By and say hello today. They've been a part of the Southern Maryland community for 18 years. If you need some cash to hold you over, or if you're just doing some spring cleaning and want to clear some stuff out, please bring it by Alpine and let them make you an offer. If you have broken jewelry or some that you just don't want anymore, please bring it by and they'll pay you more than anyone in the Tri-County area. They're located on 301 in White Plains, just south of DeMar Road. Go Blue Crabs.
This is Matt Latos, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Top of the 9th inning, the Blue Crabs are all of a sudden in front for the first time today. They lead it 4-2 as we go to the top of the 9th, and here comes Matt Latos to face off against 5, 6, and 7 in the Honey Hunters order. First pitch, a called strike on Luis Roman, who's 1 for 3. He singled in the first, struck out in the third, and grounded to first in the 6th. Well, the Honey Hunters scored the first 2 runs of the game back in the first inning. And a breaking ball cut on and missed, count 0-2. Well, again, the Honey Hunters scored 2 runs in the first inning. It was thanks to Jake Reinheimer, who had an RBI triple. Later came around to score on an error by the shortstop, Baca. The 0-2 is low into the dirt, and the count 1-2. But then the Blue Crabs put together a run in the 5th inning on back-to-back doubles from Lee and Rye, and then scored 3 in the 8th. It was a wild pitch from Gastonia's pitcher, Sam Bordner, as the 1-2 pitch misses. Little inside in the count, 2-2. A wild pitch from Bordner scored the Blue Crabs' first runner of the inning, Austin Rye, and then Michael Baca and Ian Yetzko came around to score on a 2 RBI single from David Harris. 2-2 called strike three. Luis Roman is rung up on a pitch on the outside corner, and there's one away in the top of the ninth. Well, for Blue Crabs pitching, that is the ninth strikeout of the game. 5 from Butler across 6 innings, 3 from Geeky, and 1 from Latos. Surprisingly, the only one who didn't have a strikeout was Endris, Brasino, who had 17 strikeouts and 8 innings coming in. First pitch called strike on Reese Hampton, the left-handed hitter. And the count 0-1. Brasino was throwing mid to upper 90s. Touch 96 as the 0-1 is swung on and missed. Count 0-2. Latos ahead in the count again. On Reese Hampton, I should say. Jake Skoll on deck. He has the hardest and furthest hit balls today. We'll get to that when he comes to the plate. 0-2 pitch. That's low on the count 1-2. On the day, Hampton is 1 for 3. He popped out to short, singled in the 4th, reached third base, was stranded there, and he popped out to third base. 1-2, that's upstairs in the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away in the top of the ninth. Base paths are empty. 4-2 Southern Maryland after they put up 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. The 2-2 pitch, check swing. They motion down to the third base umpire, John Thomas, who says Reese Hampton held his swing, and the count runs full now at 3-2. Latos was ahead on the batter, 0-2. But has now issued 3 consecutive balls. Here's the pitch. 2 to the 3-2, strike 3 call. Well, it's not quite clear if Reese Hampton went around, but the home plate umpire, Ian Pittenger, rings him up, and there are 2 away in the top of the ninth. And here comes Jake Skoll. Skoll is 1 for 3 today. But that's not a full representation of this game, as the first pitch is just off the inside corner for ball 1. Skoll has hit the 2 hardest balls hit today. Off the bat, 108.3 and 101.61 swung on. Lifted down the right field line. It's a foul ball. That one nearly got into the corner for extra bases for Jake Skoll, but the count, 1 ball and 1 strike on the lefty. Hit one 108.3 miles per hour on a 400-foot fly ball to dead center field off the batter's eye. And then hit one 334 feet to left center to the warning track. Nearly got that one out of the park as well. That was 101.6, but just a fly out. It's the 2 hardest hit balls by the 7 hitter in the lineup. As the pitch runs in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike on the left-handed hitter. Blue Crabs 4, the Honey Hunters 2 here in the top of the ninth. 2-1, a called strike by Ian Pittenger, the home plate umpire, on the inner half in the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Jake Skoll. 3 infielders to the right side of second base. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. Latos strikes out the side. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs pitchers retire 18 in a row to finish the game. And Southern Maryland takes home a 4-2 win. They take 2 out of 3 at home against the tied for best team in the Atlantic League, the Gastonia Honey Hunters. And after losing game 1, the Blue Crabs pick up games 2 and games 3 behind terrific pitching, not only from their starting pitchers, but from the bullpen as well. Eddie Butler went 6 innings of work today. He allowed just 2 runs. He did allow 7 hits. All of those 7 hits came in the first 3+ innings of this game. he really settled down from there, retired the last 9 batters of his start. And then in the 7th, it was Dalton Geeky who came in and struck out the side. Endres Bersenio in the 8th worked a 1-2-3 inning. And then in the 9th inning, Matt Latos did his work. 3 up and 3 down with a trio of strikeouts. And the Blue Crabs win this one 4-2. A big 2 RBI single from David Harris was the difference maker today as Southern Maryland picked up a 4-2 win. Well, let's run back through a couple of the key moments in today's game. It was in the first inning when the Honey Hunters jumped on top 2-0. Johnny Davis picked up a single to start the game. Jake Reinheimer roped an RBI triple into left center. After a strikeout from Joseph Rosa, Zach Jarrett grounded one slowly over to short where Michael Baca had trouble fielding it, allowing Jake Reinheimer to come in and score from third. With a runner on first and 1 out, it was Luis Roman who singled to right field. That allowed Zach Jarrett to get to third base. So runners on first and third with 1 out, but a pop out from Reese Hampton and a deep fly out to center field from Jake Skoll ended the first inning. This game would remain 2-0 all the way to the 5th, where the Blue Crabs tacked on their first run of the game. It was Braxton Lee who knocked a 1-out double into left center field. And the next batter, or 2 batters later I should say, was Austin Rye down the right field line into the corner, who roped an RBI double of his own and made it a 2-1 game. It was 2-1 till the 8th. 8 batters came to the plate for Southern Maryland in the inning. It was a single from Raul Shah. Austin Rye grounded into a fielder's choice. Michael Baca singled before Jack Sundberg struck out. The runners on first and second with 2 outs when Ian Yetzko hit a single to third base. Roman couldn't come up with the ball. It was pretty hard hit and a tough play. And Ian Yetzko was given a single. The bases were loaded with 2 outs. And then a wild pitch from the pitcher Sam Bordner allowed Austin Rye to come in and score from third. After Jared Walker walked, it was a 2 RBI single on a ground ball up the middle from David Harris to give the Blue Crabs a 4-2 lead. And then it was all but Matt Latos' time, who struck out the side of the 9th to give the Blue Crabs a 4-2 lead. You can't say enough about the pitching in innings 4 through 9 from Southern Maryland as they win this game by a score of 4-2, retiring the last 18 batters in order for the Gastonia Honey Hunters. Well, that'll do it from our broadcast this afternoon as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs win by a score of 4-2. Bit of a faster game here on Baseball and Education Day. Happy that, for the most part, all the kids were able to stay for the duration of the game because it was a quicker game, as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs take home a 4-2 win. Happy to have everybody along for the ride today. Thank you for everybody listening to our trivia questions and participating in the YouTube chat. We'll be back on the air tomorrow at 6:35. From everybody here with the Blue Crabs, I'm Austin Rooney signing off saying, let's go Blue Crabs. Until next time.